Too sweet! Hi, welcome to JD Sports. I'm Jarrett. That's the way you can find our personal Twitters at the show's Twitter page, which is at _JD Sports. Thank you for watching on YouTube if you are. How do you find us on SoundCloud?
SoundCloud.com/JD Sports Show.
Dwight?
By the way.
Yes.
Shout out to YouTube for being a pain in my ass yesterday.
Yeah, shout out to YouTube.
Trying to upload that thing last week.
Yeah, I saw that.
Dude, I must have spent...
I was with you.
I spent 4 or 5 different times trying to get through, and it would get through until... Because it takes like 2 hours to upload. It would get down to like, oh, you have 30 minutes. And then it would just stop and wouldn't upload anymore. So shout out to YouTube for making it difficult for me, but if you follow us on the SoundCloud, it's the better option just because it's
quicker,
instantaneous. Like I get that on there within 5 minutes.
That's awesome.
So shout out to them. I hate
hear.
Google making it complicated for me.
So
you know.
Now that we got that out of the way, outside of that, how was your weekend, Dwight?
Glorious. You know, kicked it with some homies.
Not to boast, because we hung out for game 2 of the NBA Finals and watched a little bit of Extreme Rules, WWE. But not to boast, because as fun as that was, Saturday I went to the Phillies game on the annual bus trip that family and friends do of mine, and it was as legendary as it always lives up to. So shout out to everybody who went, shout out to everybody who learned about JD Sports on the bus trip, and shout out to everybody who walked up to me and said they watched a couple of our shows. So if you are watching or you just picked it up, thank you.
Yeah, tell your friends.
Tell your friends. And to anybody who wasn't part of it that just picked us up or is watching, want to tell your friends, we're about that as well.
Heck yeah, all day.
So that was fun. The Phillies were 6-23 in their last 29 going into that. They won on Saturday, and then they won on Sunday when I went. I went Saturday, but then they won Saturday, and then they won Sunday. So, knock on some wood. Hopefully they keep that moving along. Doubtful.
Extremely doubtful.
It was fun. Ben Lively, he's a young up-and-coming pitcher for the Phillies. He got thrown in there due to injuries. Played really well. 7 innings, strong. It was awesome. It was fun that I got to see his first ever start in the major leagues. He got a base hit as well. It was a good time. Shout out to everybody part of that. Friends and family alike, as I said. We're going to get Dwight going to this. I know he hates Philadelphia as much as I love Philadelphia, which is extreme in both directions. But I want to pull him there. It's such a great day. It's such a great... I'm going to keep pestering him on air about this so one day we can get him there. Enough people one day will be big enough they will all be tweeting in the show and they'll be making him go.
I'll do it then.
Let's... transition, because baseball, we could talk about how I was just a year ahead on the Astros because they're the best team in baseball. They scored 60 runs in 3 games in the beginning of the week last week. Yeah. The Astros, I predicted them in the World Series last year and they didn't even make the playoffs, but now here they are, the 2017, they're the best team in baseball.
Yeah, shout out to them.
I was joking about the whole keep going with baseball thing. Even though it was just brought back to my attention, and I remember when this came out, about 2013 or 2014, there was a SI magazine came out with, on the cover, your 2017 World Series champions, the Houston Astros, and it's really funny that they're the best baseball team by 8 games right now as of this recording. They have a pitcher who is 9-0 in Dallas Keuchel, and they are scoring 1,000,000 runs. So it's pretty fun to watch. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that throughout the playoffs because right now they're scoring 1,000,000 runs against everybody, you know what I mean? So you're playing the best pitchers, you're playing the worst pitchers, you're playing the best teams, you're playing the worst teams. Yeah. But when you get to the playoffs, obviously, you're playing the teams with the best pitching staffs, and I don't know if their pitching staff is that good. We will definitely talk about the Astros. I know that's way too much baseball for most people at this time of year.
It's definitely too much for Dwight right now.
I apologize. So we'll move to the finals, because I could go all day about baseball, obviously.
Okay.
I mean, I would be more excited to just jump into the finals if the first 2 games didn't look like the first 2 games of last year's finals. But this year the difference is you have to try to figure out how to answer for KD. You didn't have to do that last year. This one's a little rough. This one's definitely a little rough. This 14-0. The Golden State Warriors, okay?
Yeah,
they've won 29 of their last 30 dating back to like January 10th against Utah as their last loss, if I'm not mistaken, or February 10th, I apologize, or March 10th or something, I don't know. It was a long time ago. 29 of their last 30 games they've won, and 14 of those have been in the playoffs straight as of this recording, and this should be up before the next game as we're hoping. So,
right.
The LA Lakers in 2001, the second year that they won the title, made it to the finals undefeated. They lost game 1 to Iverson and the Sixers, and then they just destroyed them in the next. I mean, they beat them by I think an average of like 16 or 17 points in the next 4 games. So
right.
I always say because
good times.
The only other team to equivalent that was the mid-'70s, the Sixers with Dr. J and Moses Malone went fo. But back then there was only 3 series. You had to win 4 games in 3 different series. Now you have 4 series. Right. So that was fo. But this would be fo. That would be incredible. I mean, not that wasn't incredible back in the 70s, but
right,
you know, shout out to probably the best era of Sixer basketball. But
it's the only era of Sixer basketball.
No, I mean, you had the early 2000s. You have, you know.
You Sixers fans just keep.
You got the 80s. They won it in the 80s.
Y'all still.
They won it in the 80s. They won it in the 80s.
Y'all stay.
Got the 82,
okay,
83.
I got you in the 80s, but y'all stay on that little glimmer of hope y'all have for like 2 seasons.
I hear you.
For like a season, if I'm being correct about it.
They made the playoffs 5 years straight. They made the playoffs 5 years straight during that span. They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals twice.
I was about to say,
they made it to the finals once, and after 2 or 3 years after Iverson left, they made it to the playoffs 3 years in a row. And 1 year, they were 1 game away from getting absolutely demolished in the Eastern Conference Finals by the Heat. That's a long story. Different day.
I was about to just mock you for knowing that exact sequence of events, but then I realized that that's about the extent of your.
It's me.
No, that's about the extent of
but
your
I could give you that about
lifetime. So.
I can give you that about.
I understand what
the Flyers franchise, the Phillies franchise, and the Phillies franchise dates back to 1906. If you really want me to start there, and the Eagles franchise, which is turned 50 last year as well. So
gross.
I can literally give you like the history of all of them. So I mean that's why I know the Sixers history. I can give you Notre Dame football history because that's also shout out to the Golden Domers. Anyways, back to the finals.
Back to something that's relevant.
Sort of.
Not Philadelphia sports. Ever.
So that Lakers team I talked about, no one.
Okay.
To me, and I didn't get to start watching basketball till like 96, 97, 98-ish when Iverson was a year or 2 in. My dad, he's a huge sports fan, just never a big basketball fan. Grew up in a rural area that they didn't really watch a whole lot of basketball. It was football and baseball where he grew up. So he didn't pick up hockey until he actually moved away from where he lived. He became a huge Flyers fan in the early mid-90s. But so like I picked up basketball kind of on my own at a younger age, so I didn't really I have watched back now in my older age all of the old Jordan games and all of his I watched almost basically every one of his playoff series except for like the first 2 or 3, but I didn't watch them live when they were happening. So to me that 01 Lakers team was the most dominant playoff team I've ever seen since I've been paying attention as thoroughly as one can at that age. And even now.
Yeah.
My thing is that team, and it's hard because I was 11. To me, it just looked like they were just monsters compared to everybody. And, Iverson win that 1 game, it was like him versus the Monstars, you know what I mean to me? Where this looks like, how do you answer for one or the other? Like, Shaq and Kobe was how do you answer for one or the other. Here you have 2 perimeter players, and how do you answer for one or the other? Not to mention the other 2 All-Stars on their team. This could be a team full of 4 Hall of Famers, potentially. If not more. I'm not saying Andre Iguodala is a Hall of Famer. I'm just saying, he'll get tossed in the mix one day. Not saying he ever gets voted in, but the point is he'll be up for it. How do you answer? Because you have those 2 top players. Like, you look at it from the Cleveland Cavaliers standpoint. There isn't a magical player you can just create tomorrow. There isn't a scheme that you can set into your offense or defense. There isn't a Andrew Bogut's not walking back on that court. You know what I mean? Like there isn't something to just. Is there anything they can do with this current roster to flip this around? I know they were down 0-2 last year, and I know the points per margin is only 7-point difference. They were down 41 last year. I think they're only down 48 points in those 2 games. And I know only sounds like a lot, but it compared to last year, it's only 7 points.
I mean, in game 2, they were like nobody wants to talk about it, but they
till the late third.
You look how many points that they were able to. They were right behind them. They were right within that striking distance of Golden State the entire time. The problem is you're facing Golden State, and they're just
Katie and Steph,
right, and they're just gonna ball out, or even if it's not them, Klay's gonna ball out, or Iggy, or somebody's gonna step on and ball out. The problem is, so I think Cleveland, they're going to keep doing that. They're going to keep being in it. I don't think it's going to be like, okay, it end up being a bigger margin than what it was at one point. But,
and Golden State does that to everybody.
Yeah. I think
has.
And Cleveland's just they're going to keep doing that. And I think it's going to get closer into Cleveland, as far as is there anything that they can do? No. There's like somebody on that bench needs to step the hell out because their big three or whatever the hell you want to call them haven't been horrible. LeBron's still doing his thing. Kevin Love has had two good games. Kyrie's doing his thing. Like it's not like they're playing miserable. Those three. It's the supporting act, which is what the problem is because Golden State has their three or whatever, four guys, and then they have a supporting cast that is backing them up.
So on paper, the only thing that really seemed like it was in Cleveland's advantage is that Golden State's bench just isn't that good in general, and not that Cleveland's is great, but it's just better on paper.
Golden State's is.
But well, the thing that doesn't really matter because the thing is you only need 2 or 3 minutes out of like JaVale McGee in one of the games only had 3 minutes, but he had 4 points in that game. So like if you're getting that much production, you only need 3 minutes out of him. Well, if you're only getting 3 minutes out of him, but he's getting 4 points, that's better than what you can expect if he would score. Because if he was in there for 12 minutes, he's not getting 13 points. So it's more of an advantage to be able to play guys in 2 or 3 minute spurts because you have 4 guys who can play almost 42 minutes a game.
Yeah, they can.
As long as they're not in foul trouble like Draymond got into, but
then you just put Iggy in, and then
and that was the difference there as well. So I said about the 01 Lakers, that 96-97 Bulls and the 76ers that did the faux and the the early 80s, the mid 80s Showtime Lakers.
Yeah.
Those are known as the greatest teams of all time. Is this Warriors team? And I know we still have at least 2 more wins for them to win the championship. Right. So you say they don't look. I kept making the joke all weekend long as a Flyers fan, the series doesn't start till a road team wins. And so as a LeBron fan, I have to say the series doesn't start till a road team wins in the NBA as well.
Everybody needs to calm down with that, but yeah. It's not looking good, but they look like
if they were to do this,
and Golden State was up by this margin. Golden State was up 3-0 last year.
I know, or 3-1. But if they were up by this margin, and they win the next 2 games by this margin, you throw them in that conversation, right?
Yeah, you have to. I mean, you keep saying the 0-1 Lakers. I think it's just a different conversation. I don't think it's fair to even really compare them because, like you said, the Shaq and Kobe, especially Shaq,
they did it inside out, not outside the whole time.
But like you said, it was just a 2-man complete domination, and they had an okay enough supporting cast that it worked out. The Warriors, start to finish, despite what I heard Robert already talking. He's like, "Oh, what better?" Of course, he's going to say that. But objectively, start to finish, no. Golden State on paper has a much better roster.
I was just going to say,
I don't know. They would have stopped Shaq, but nobody is.
They wouldn't. But I was just going to say, so to your point to the up and down roster, wouldn't you say like the 96-97 Bulls kind of match up better to this Golden State Warriors team than that 0-1 Lakers team? Because this 0-1 Lakers team, Shaq and Kobe are going to go off for a combined 70, 80 points, and then you just need Robert Ory or Fisher or there was Cox. right. So somebody else to give you 10 to 15 to 20 points-ish, and boom, next thing you know, they're going to be right there in a game with it. But they might not be able to score 130 points. So
that Bulls team probably has more depth.
Because they can defensively shut them down a little better, right? Like, isn't that would be the only difference in that.
So to me, it's not a fair comparison, but
it's not.
Go back to your original point.
They were also trying to beat teams differently than you would be today.
Right. Which I think that argument is kind of ridiculous too, because I think.
Today you're shooting way more threes, just by nature of the game.
Technically,
everybody's shooting more threes.
That's because there's not a big man who wants to dominate like Shaq. I'm just saying they just refuse to dominate.
Well, because you got Dwight Howard out here scoring. He averaged last year 21 points.
He refuses to dominate.
Yeah, but you know what? Somebody actually, and I know you're going to hate this.
Someone take control of the game.
I know you're going to hate this, but I actually got convinced not too long ago. Man, his numbers, he's Hall of Fame worthy, and that's crazy to think about.
No.
He's the most dominant big man of our era. Times 10. His numbers. Look at his numbers the last 5 years.
Stop it.
It's incredible. I know. Dude, I said the same thing until I started looking into it.
I'll look at the numbers and I'm going to still tell you to stop it. No, he's not a Hall of Famer. Mentally, stat-wise, I don't care if his plus-minus ratio, whatever.
I'm a Yao Ming
whatever
fan.
little
He's
nerd fact.
Yao Ming. I'm a Yao Ming fan. He's better than Yao Ming.
Fact you want to throw at me? I'm going to say no.
I like Yao Ming.
Yao Ming's in the Hall of Fame because of where he's from.
He's better
That's
than
a completely different conversation. Okay. Yao Ming, he was good. Yao Ming wasn't as skillful as he's given credit for. he was good because of his height, and he was able to body Shaq a little bit because he was tall and lengthy. He's a Hall of Famer for different circumstances because of what he did with China in the NBA.
That.
So that's not a fair comparison. If Dwight Howard's more athletic, he was clearly more athletic, and he's better.
We don't need the Dwight Howard Hall of Fame conversation right now because I know I know how you feel about this, but
it's not a conversation to me.
So, the thing I find most interesting about these finals so far, we talked about. I kept trying to push the Steph thing on you last show, right? And it turns out he got a double-double in Game 1, got a triple-double in Game 2. In Game 1, he had 0 turnovers. And so with all that said, all these great things I just said about him, he wouldn't even be the MVP of the series if it was over after 2 games because KD has played that well, but just as good on defense. He's been the standout star overall just because of every aspect of the game.
He's played fantastic, and I don't want to give it to him by default because I've kind of come up.
Played fantastic, both have.
That's what's kind of annoying to me because I've been thinking about this for the past week especially. I feel like we lean, I'm saying we as in just everybody, we lean towards the 6 foot, lengthy guards, the muscular, big, tall guards, and say that clearly they're the dominant force out there and they're clearly the MVP when you got a guy like Steph Curry who's however tall, much shorter, much more skinny, not as muscular, but he dominates in a different facet. But because he's not 6'12" and muscular, we ignore that. He's not bodying people out there. He dominates in his own way, and he doesn't get credit for that. And that's why they say he's soft, which is ridiculous too.
I don't think he's soft either, but.
We look at the athletic guards or fours more than we look at the little guys. Because we disrespect Isaiah Thomas and Steph Curry when they can dominate the way that they do.
It looks more impressive when KD is dribbling through his legs than Steph every day of the week.
Well, yeah, it does when you're 6'7" or whatever he is, and you're
KD's 7 foot,
you got
legitimately
an 8 foot wingspan or whatever it is. It does look better.
He's legitimately 7 foot, and LeBron's 6'7". So I agree. Right. It looks more crazy when they're doing the spin moves and the dribbles and
it just irritates
behind the backs and
it just irritates me by default. We always just lean towards them more so when there's.
But I would give KD the MVP on the sense of how he had 5 blocks in Game 2. He played. He's
going to get it.
He's been the spell defensively for Golden State down the stretch. That has been the difference. LeBron didn't want to be bodying down low 2 games in a row the way he had to because he was so far out of it. And that third quarter, he started shooting threes because he couldn't go down low anymore because he was hurt. I mean, his body is just breaking down type thing because he did it so much in the first half and it didn't give them the separation. They were still losing. No, I don't disagree because look, this is it. It's now or never. It is now or never, and this is what he's trying to build his legacy off of.
You're LeBron James. You're King James.
I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him not be taking those shots in the third, even though he was feeling it early. He missed the last 4 of them.
No, you King
and they took him out of it. He made the first 3, but he went 3 of 7.
I don't want you shooting only 6 times in the second half, LeBron. That's unacceptable. I don't care how you're doing it. Yeah, I'd much rather you body your way.
Especially after 20-plus points in the first half.
I've been saying this forever about LeBron, by the way. Body your way. Okay, if you're tired, then figure out a way to space it out.
Everybody has. That's what Skip's argument is as well.
Do whatever. What's Skip's argument?
Skip always says that he's been trying to tell LeBron to just take it to the hole. But I think
I've been saying. I said that on the show last year. Yeah, you're a big, lengthy SOB that can body your way through. Do that, and he dominated the first half that way.
So I find it interesting.
He shot 6 times in the second half. That's not acceptable.
Hold on. We'll go back to LeBron. I find it interesting. So when I was bringing up the Steph and KD thing, who would you give the MVP to right now in the finals? 2 games in.
It is KD.
Okay, you agree?
I was just saying, and yes, I do agree that he is. I just think in general, as a whole, I don't like the fact that we just go towards that automatically, which is what more people are doing, in my opinion. They're not looking at it like you and I, or experts, quote unquote, only guys and expert only. They're looking at it as KD's just the best player, the second best player in the world, and he clearly has to be the MVP.
You and I look at it. No, I don't think he clearly has to be the MVP. I think
people look at it that way.
I feel like he's legitimately outplayed Steph, but I will give you the sense of
It's hard when you look at those point numbers.
I said it to you legitimately when we were watching the game. I said Steph is the guy who looks like he doesn't belong, but he's proving he does belong.
Mm-hmm.
And that's but you and I see that. That bus trip that I went to this week, I was defending Steph to so many different people because they were calling him soft. They were saying this. They were saying that. No, you and I agree.
Where does that come from?
I find it odd because he doesn't.
Because he's a beige brother that he doesn't. act like a quote thug? Like what do they want? If he acts like a thug, then he's a thug.
You know why?
Quote,
As
unquote.
Bomani Jones said, because when he stunts on you, you can't really do nothing about it because you go like what? Oh, what? You got back at Steph Curry. But then if you stunt on Steph Curry, people are like, what? You just stunted on Steph Curry, bro? Like it's like the Drake and Meek Mill thing. What was Meek Mill's a battle rapper, but the thing is Meek Mill's battle rap's talking about he gonna fight you, he gonna shoot you, he gonna come up on your block. Well, how big is it if he would have said, Drake, I'm going to come up on your block? People would be laughing at Meek Mill like, bro, oh, so you're real tough. You're going to fight Drake? Like, that's why Meek got so bodied in that.
Right.
And I'm a Drake person over Meek Mill. But I understand the reality of it. The way Meek Mill would handle this over the way Drake would handle this in the public eye would be look way worse upon Meek Mill. So he did probably the best PR move by just saying, you know what, I'm not going to say I'm going to fight him. Because if he said he was going to fight him, then everybody would be like, really?
You look real tough.
You going to fight Drake? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that'd be like trying to fight you or I right now. Like, you'd be looking stupid. My point is so I'm with you because you and I both agree that it's ridiculous. Steph belongs, and Steph has proven he belongs, and should be
He's my favorite player in the league, and it's been that way for a couple years now.
There should be no
outside of Kobe.
And what did I say straight up? What did I say straight up after he did that to LeBron, where he did a little?
That was the greatest thing I ever saw.
What was the first thing I said to you? What was the first I said?
Shout out to Game 1 when he fell too. That was fun.
Right, yeah, but what did I say to you? The first thing I said, Steph should have stunned it right on LeBron. I know he did his little dance walking away, but I felt like he should have stared him down the way LeBron and talked.
He didn't want to. Well, that's because he was going to get that.
You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. But at the same time, I said it.
He was chirping, but he was looking forward, and LeBron was to his right.
I love people who stunt like that, so I'm okay with it. But I do kind of find it funny that people cared a little less when it was Steph doing it to LeBron than when LeBron was doing it to Steph.
Yeah,
but as my point is
LeBron was stunting on him and talking trash too.
So he did earlier. I don't know.
No, I'm saying last year when he
that's what I meant.
Yeah. So that's cool, but what Steph Curry does is not okay.
Sticking with the Golden State Warriors, because we will get back to LeBron and the Cavaliers, but people are very lucky that you and I don't get to do a daily radio show or TV show or something like that, because, man, after Game 1, everyone was clowning Klay, and you and I
kind of took a half shot at him because I thought it was funny on our sports page.
As funny as it is.
Because I was like, I mean, does he want a contract? Because we can figure out this whole money thing real quick.
But
because I just thought it was funny, but I'm not serious.
But you and I both have the real understanding of Klay Thompson's as good as they can. I mean, I called him a 9 out of 10 last week. He's a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, he's franchise player on any other team in the league.
Any other team in the league right now,
not
probably.
named the Spurs. You know?
So
or
Cleveland or Golden State.
Yeah,
But he's right there in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
He's right there with him. He's right there in Houston. He's right there in Cleveland.
Dude, imagine if he was on the Pelicans. Those
Those
bigs, yeah, right.
So,
right.
But it would be funny because we would have been on the radio the next day or the TV the next day or wherever you would have found us the next day, and we would have been laughing at everybody who was talking about how Klay is this, and this. And then Klay comes out on Sunday night and just is like, yep, am I that, and that? Because I wasn't as bad as y'all kept saying I was.
They done disrespected him this whole year because of KD.
I don't understand why people think it
they forgot he's there.
He's gonna take a back seat.
Yeah, right.
What would you do?
And he admitted it before KD was even there. He's cool with being the number 2. He accepts that. He said all he cares about is winning. And you gotta respect that, but he still balls out.
He was the second best player on his team,
still playing like the first best player.
When he was the second best player on his team, he said, "I'm the second best player on my team." So when he became the third best player on his team, what do you think
he said?
What do you think? He wasn't going to accept the fact that he was the third best player on the team? No, he was smart enough to be like, "Yeah, I'm the third best player on the team," and guess what? I'm gonna still drop 20 in a finals game because I don't care.
That's the thing is that as much as he accepts that role, quote unquote,
he scored 37 and a quarter last year.
He still will ball out like a number 1.
He scored 37 and a quarter last year.
But he's poop and he sucks. And
the Cavaliers scored 34 in the first quarter of Game 2.
I do think it was kind of ridiculous, though. I will say during Game 1 when he was on the bench and the camera kept going to him and they're winning and they're balling out, but he looked miserable. I was like, damn, he looks like a defeated man.
But he started laughing at one point. I
did see that. I saw a defeated man.
There's a really good meme of it said. It had the final score, and it was like there was a 30 seconds left, and it was the score of the game, and it was Klay laughing on the bench talking to the two of the, I think it was Steph and somebody else, and it said when you get an A with the group project, but you didn't help, and it was him. So he was laughing at some point because it was him pointing and laughing.
They're probably dogging,
Yeah, about how he got an A on the group project and he didn't help.
But no, don't just stop. We need to stop disrespecting that man.
The two things I wanted to say. I already brought up the bench about JaVale McGee and even a couple, number 0 and number 21. We'll just call them number 0 and number 21 because that's about all we know about them. But they do come in and do what they need to do to make sure that the game doesn't.
I think it was 21 that had a 3.
Right. Because it doesn't become a deficit while they're out there, and that's really all they're out there to do is make sure it doesn't become a deficit while they're out there.
Yeah, they get some minutes out there.
And then Iguodala, of course. Yeah. So the one person we haven't gone in depth and talked about, Draymond Green. He hasn't put up the big points numbers, but he's put up everything else. He's been the consistent player in every aspect. And I said he was kind of the wheel that did it on offense. He's kind of been the wheel that did it everywhere. He's kind of where he brings the energy. So I understand defensively that's where you're going to be the most prevalent in the first place. But even on the offensive boards, he's been able to look, I think everybody's said enough about Tristan Thompson that we don't have to actually sit here and dog him the way that everyone else has because he's been dogged enough that point proven. Not been good. 8 points is not good enough.
No, unacceptable.
4 rebounds. 8 points in 2 games, by the way. 4 rebounds in game 2, not good enough.
But you, Scottie Pippen.
That happens when... That happens when you are playing somebody of the talent of Jay. I mean, because you...
I know.
Never would I agree with
everybody
that.
always said that.
I know.
I just got to take a little jab.
I hear you. And that's
Klay got jabbed. He
deserves he deserves that. And he deserves that. But when you're playing Draymond Green, we're gonna let him live. That's why I said we shouldn't just dog him because everybody's dogging him, and he deserves it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he doesn't deserve the blame, but it's
kind of been his career though, outside of his postseason last year.
Is it because he's dating a Kardashian?
Ask Lamar.
So when you are...
Oh, I'm sorry, Lamar. That was wrong. Damn, I love Lamar Odom too. Damn. I apologize. Laker Nation apologizes. That was wrong. Cut. Okay.
So when you are playing Draymond Green on the other side, sometimes that tends to happen.
Yeah, it does. I mean,
that's
what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Khloe Kardashian, who is my favorite Kardashian.
I'm just going to not say what I want to say.
Khloe and Kendall. Well, Kendall's like a Jenner, she's not a Kardashian. So.
I'm staying out of this conversation.
So, you were kind of getting in on Bron a little bit.
Yep.
You want to go back in on him quick, or did you say what you needed to say?
I mean, yeah, for the most part. I just want to see him, dominate the post.
The one thing I will say.
More so.
The one thing I will say, because you and I both...
He's not playing horrible, so I can't really... Right. And like I said, none of the big three I can really say, you're shitty. Like, you suck right now. I was just about to give you some
credit for it, because not even in years past, because the one thing you've always done when we've watched games together, I'm an Eagles fan, you're a Cowboys fan, we watched Eagles-Cowboys games together.
A lot.
And you and I, for some reason, are like the two people who can watch and kind of, we don't get in each other's face, but we can celebrate a little bit, and we're both cool together. Right, but we have fun. Uh-huh. The one thing I will say, though, is when we are watching LeBron, most people that I watch LeBron with that don't like LeBron usually just kind of like always have like something. Yours is always...
I'll joke with him a couple
Yours
times.
Is funny, A, yours is funny, realistic, and B, when he does something super impressive, even if you make a smart comment or a smart joke, you at least like...
Yeah.
You have the understanding where, so we're watching the game the other day, like you were giving him credit when credit was due, which,
yeah.
But that doesn't happen a lot. So that was my point on the sense of, I understand everything you are saying, but to the other aspect of it, I mean, you said the big three. Honestly, I would take Kyrie out of it because Kevin Love got 15 points in the first game, 17 rebounds, or no, 21 rebounds. In the second game, I think it was 21 points and like 15 rebounds. They have LeBron and Kevin Love have a combined 37 rebounds. The Cavaliers, the rest of them, have a combined 38. That's a problem. Like you can't have two people have almost as many rebounds as the rest of your starting roster, or not starting your entire roster.
Speaking of Kevin Love, real quick, I was kind of just annoyed in general. I felt Cleveland should have went to him a little more in that second half as well because he was kind of showing up in the first half, and I was like, damn, is he gonna be a difference maker in the game too, Kevin Love? Yeah, I just realized that. It is what it is. Let's not turn back on now.
It will.
It didn't seem like it was that loud.
It never does.
Yeah, but then you play it back. No, I've caught that.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah, one day.
Sorry for the over sound if you heard that. And if we had to shout over it and you didn't hear it, we apologize. But So the rest of the team, though, because, okay, you were talking about Kevin Love, and I feel like people were putting Kevin Love down after game 1, and I thought even with the 15 points and 21 rebounds, I really didn't
21 rebounds.
Okay,
he was out there looking like Minnesota out there.
The other side of that is 7 of those rebounds were off his own misses. Now, honestly, okay, but 4 or 5 of those could have been on purpose. That could have been him trying to create a better shot, because he did score about 6 or 7 baskets off of those 7 rebounds. So, to the other end of that, he was still cleaning up his own boards and putting them back together.
I don't follow the on purpose thing, but I'm hearing you.
But not even just that. My point is, we both said it, 21 rebounds. I mean, how are you going to be mad at the guy after game 1?
Right.
So him and LeBron, game 1 both, I thought did enough. Game 2 both, I thought did enough.
Yeah.
And the turnovers were too much by LeBron in game 1. I don't think you see that the rest of the series. The turnovers by by Steph in the first half. I said it to you. I don't think you see that out of him the entire series again.
I said that about Steph last year. Like he gets a little reckless out there.
Well, the last time
especially when they lose, it looks really bad. But when they win, nobody talks about it.
I'll go back to the Cavaliers in a second. The one thing I want to say about Steph, there is no question in my mind now watching him, not just this entire postseason, but this finals alone in 2 games. He was definitely injured last year. He's a different player. I think there is something to that. And now, the reason I say that is because it looks like there might be something going on with Kyrie. I've heard whispers of it all playoffs, something wrong with his knee, and I didn't notice it really until this series. It does seem like he's a step behind, but it's weird because he didn't look a step behind in any other series. So I don't know if that's because of the team he's playing or if it's because he legitimately does have an injury. Because Steph didn't look like he was a step behind until they were up 3-1 and then they lost the next 3 games. So like at the same time, it's one of those, did it just hit Steph that game, or was it finally it was unmasked? Where here is it finally unmasked for the Cavs? Outside of the 42-point game, I guess Kyrie wasn't as big as usual, but at the same time, it's still not something you thought there was a problem.
No.
He does look like there's something either A going on, or he's just not living up to the moment, which I never want to just call a player for not living up to the moment. That's why I think, hey, you know what? I've been hearing about this knee thing the whole time. Maybe it is something legit. He looks like he's a step behind. He's not as aggressive as usual, and he's been missing shots at the rim, which is a little odd. But also, that could be a moment thing. So I don't want to rule one or the other out. I think it could be one or the other, or I think combination too. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do think that the only way that they get back into this is by Korver having a better game than he had in game 1 the rest of the series. Kyrie being able to put whatever it is aside and being able to put something together. And you need J.R. Smith too. I know he's already playing pretty decent on the defensive end. He needs to put a couple baskets in.
Who?
Shumpert has done well on the defensive side for them, but he's been abysmal offensively. So if you start to really look at how Korver, JR, Tristan, Shumpert, you start to really put these things together, and if you have bad performances from all of them, I mean, Channing Frye doesn't look like he even belongs on the basketball court with either of these teams, more or less playing meaningful minutes the way he does.
Is it bench player Richard Jefferson?
Richard Jefferson was getting pushed around by KD at one point yesterday.
Well, as he should be.
I understand that, but...
Is he the best on their bench? No? Really? Yeah, that's horrible.
So... It's one of those things where I'm not saying that there's a difference or there's something that can be done, but Tyron Lue at some point has to start calling some pick and rolls and trying to get those other guys open. I mean, there's so much one-on-one basketball going on out there on the offensive side for the Cavaliers. And look, to your point, until about, 3-4 minutes left in the third quarter, it was a 3-4 point game, and the Cavaliers were even only down 1 or 2 at one point. So, like, the ISO basketball that LeBron and Kyrie and Kevin Love were playing just basically by themselves was working to an extent, but at the same time, it didn't work long enough in either game. Because you have the grips of the other team. You need to be able to get a Kyle Korver over, and you need to be able to get a Williams open. You need to be able to get a Shumpert, a J.R. Smith, even a Richard Jefferson open for some shots, because if other people can't do it, I said it to you, I feel like there could be a game in the series where LeBron scores 50 and they don't win, because that might not, like, you might be able to let LeBron just do what LeBron does because he's going to do what he does in the first place, but shut everyone else down. It seems like that seems to be what they are doing, and it's working. That's a scary proposition for Cleveland, because what are you supposed to do? Try to get the other guys involved? Like, that might not be the best strategy either for you. Which kind of brings you back to, what do you... Is this the greatest team of all time? No. So, right, though? Like, it's funny. I feel like Tyron Lue needs to take a little bit of the blame, though, for not being able to at least draw some plays up to try to get these guys open, because it does seem like they aren't moving around. There isn't. It seems so. At least try to put an effort out there. Try something out other than ISO basketball for the next couple games.
And I haven't heard anybody saying anything about Tyron, but no, he does need to put on the spot for that. Yeah, definitely.
Shout out to Steve Kerr coming back in Game 2. Hopefully he makes it through the rest of the series. We're both really excited to see that, as is everybody across the landscape.
Good for him.
So, anything else to cover with basketball? I mean, I feel like we covered the first 2 games pretty in depth there.
As far as the game themselves, no. Drama, yeah.
What you got drama-wise? What you got?
Nothing. Just LeBron and his family,
Oh.
Nothing too crazy.
No.
Nothing too important.
Please bring that up to me.
Well, luckily, his family wasn't at the home.
Nobody was.
But apparently, I guess they spray painted his home?
Yep.
Or something. Some type
of...
The
gates outside of his house.
Some type of racial thing was spray painted. Was that it? I don't know. Okay. It's 2017, dude. But we don't live in a world of hate and racism and white people say, well, we go through it too. Like, yes, we're saying in general it's a problem, but until you own yourselves as well,
everybody,
right? Then this is where we're at. And the one thing I tweeted out, I was like, my hatred or whatever, or my dislike of LeBron is sports related. But the one thing we have in common is that we're black men, and I was 1,000%. I thought his statement was 1,000% perfect, yes. And it's probably the best statement and the most accurate statement and the most PC without being too PC, like getting to the point, still making that point that he could possibly been. And I was like, proud for that statement. I'm with you. It's a sick world, and people need to get off their high horses and act like this shit doesn't exist, because it does.
To your point,
I live it every day too, LeBron.
To your point and LeBron's point, it doesn't matter how
as much as it don't look like it.
Yeah, as big as LeBron gets, as famous as he gets, no matter how loved or hated he is, the part of him being an African American, obviously, it will always play a role, and that's the reason why, right there. Just to even.
It's a shame. It's disgusting.
To separate the stupidity of what the person did on the sense of the racist part of it and all that.
It's dumb. They probably just did it as a look what I'm doing to LeBron.
I got you, but on top of that, right, trying to throw him off his game. But here's my thing.
Yeah.
What Crackerjack thought it would be a good idea to go into a neighborhood, a bunch of millionaires, and spray paint something on someone's wall. How many cameras do you think caught him driving into that? The neighbors and LeBron's own cameras most likely got you, bro.
Hello.
And the license plate, if not his neighbor got your license plate. Somebody got your license plate on that street, because they all got security cameras, because they are multi-million-dollar homes that all afford security cameras. Like, what, like, you weren't going up and TPing your neighbor's house here, man. You're going up to million-dollar mansions that are protected by security 24/7. Like, so that is my first off. That's
stupid. Yeah.
I don't know what is more stupid, the fact that that person is being that racist and dumb, or the fact that that person is spray painting that and being that dumb vandalism-wise.
It's just ignorant. That's just ignorant.
I mean, you summed it up best. He summed it up best. I don't know if there's anything that I can add to even help that conversation. I sit back and just, I won't understand it, obviously. But outside of like you said, they were just trying to throw him off his game. My man has a lot to do at work right now, so I feel like he didn't address it as well as he wanted to. But I felt like you said he had some pretty impactful things on it, as much as you could possibly have at that moment. Anything else? I mean, I think you guys both summed that up pretty good.
No, I mean,
I wasn't
surprised.
I quickly, because we do have one NFL thing to get into, but I quickly want to just talk about, I kept saying all weekend, the NHL series doesn't start till the road team wins. As of this recording, it is 2-1 Penguins. By before this is up, the fourth game will be done. So fingers crossed the Predators win that game. Pekka Rinne has to play as well as he did in Game 3 the rest of the series for them to have a chance. The Predators need to score roughly as many goals as they did in Game 3 to have a chance, because they only scored a combined 3 or 4 goals in the first 2 games. So that's a big deal. I mean, as a Flyers fan, of course, hopefully next time we're on the air, it's not the Penguins and Stanley Cup champions, but it's really hard for how good that offense is and how well they played in those first 2 games. Road team got to
dominating.
win a game. Road team got to win a game for this series to start. So hopefully,
Doesn't happen now.
as of this recording, when this comes up, hopefully it's 2-2, not 3-1. But if it's 3-1, we both agree the Penguins got it. If it's 2-2,
it's probably a sweep. Bro.
well, they already won a game. So the worst
thought it
they
was
can get is
2-0.
no. They won Saturday night. So it's 2-1 now. They won 4-1 Saturday
Then
night.
it's going in 5.
So
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that.
we were talking about LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
And the racist things happening.
Yeah, wild. 2017, it don't exist, quote unquote. Open your eyes, people.
If I gave you 2 names and said, I need you to pick this as your backup, your starter, your wide receiver for next year, quarterback, linebacker, safety. And one of them was Colin Kaepernick, and the other one was Austin Davis. Yeah, Austin Davis. Had to make sure I read that correctly.
Who?
So you're taking Kaepernick as your safety, wide receiver, or quarterback over Austin Davis as well?
Probably my center too, yeah.
Okay.
Who the hell is Austin Davis?
Well, he was the guy who worked out the day after Kaepernick did for the Seahawks, and he got the job. Even though, I will quote everyone's favorite coach, Pete Carroll.
Yep.
Not my favorite coach.
Put his own foot in his mouth.
I think Colin Kaepernick could be a starter in this league. I think he should be a starter in this league. He has the talent to be a starter in this league.
No, he truly believes that. I'm sure the owner was just like, Coach.
Austin Davis,
Stop
bro.
it.
Austin Davis, bro.
The man that hasn't played in 2 years.
The owner was like, dude, Austin Davis, you got to check this dude out.
He's been on, 4 different teams?
You got to check. Yeah, but you know what he
4
did
or
with the
5
Browns, right?
every single year.
You know what he did with the Browns, right?
More than he did with the Broncos apparently last year. He didn't play a single down, but he was on the roster.
He was with the Browns for 3 weeks. He started 2 games and got cut.
He was signed to a 1-year deal last year with the Broncos, got cut in 3 months.
You know what he did that Kaepernick never did? This is why he needs to be a Seahawk and not Kaepernick. I got
I
it.
know exactly what you want to say.
He got drafted by the Boston Red Sox. What did Colin Kaepernick ever do? How much baseball he play, bro?
Did he get drafted in the last possible round?
He didn't play 3 months in the minors. He didn't play 3 months in the minors.
It's fact. Bo
He didn't
Jackson
make
out here.
He didn't make
Bo
it 3 months in the
Jackson. I
minors.
see you, Bo.
He didn't make it 3 months in the minors. Brandon Whedon and Austin Davis both made it 3 months in the minors.
The GOAT.
What did Colin Kaepernick ever do?
I don't know. Only took a team to a Super Bowl once.
So it's settled. Austin Davis is a quarterback. Anything else to say on that? No? We're good?
LOL. For real? LOL and for real. That's all I Otherwise, kind of see previous week's conversations and our previous conversation about LeBron. For real?
If we're talking about...
This is some nut shit. It's not even a racist thing. It's
this is some
it's
nut
it's just
stuff,
some,
right? I mean, that is So if we're talking about, if we were ranking the best backup quarterbacks in the league, Austin Davis is number 1,
3.
right?
Number 3. I'll give him number 3.
So you got Foles,
Yes. 1.
Sanchez,
Number 2.
and then Austin Davis. All right.
Yeah, all day. All day. Let's go. Damn. Kaepernick's about number. I mean, Cam Newton's he was 44th best player? That means, by that logic, I'm putting Cap 48.
Bro.
He's about as good as Cam.
Austin Davis and Colin Kaepernick worked out for the same team, and that team signed Austin Davis.
It's Austin Davis.
I just told you. He played for the Browns for 3 weeks, started 2 games, and then got cut. I just told you who Austin did. Pay attention. You were the one who informed me he played for the Broncos last year. What do you mean who Austin Davis is?
I know.
You followed this man's career tightly, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
The Boston Red Sox legend, Austin Davis.
Big who? Big Poppy who? Dude.
I bet they played in a spring training game
so
together
stupid.
once. 9 innings apart from each other. But I bet they were both in the same spring training game once.
Was he on that World Series team? Was he on that roster? Does he get a ring?
In spring training.
Did he get that ring?
He might have been in spring training.
Is it like Verishal, where Verishal got a ring last year? And you had to I didn't really earn this.
You know who's a legend at the bank?
No.
Mike Brown. He getting paid by both teams in the NBA Finals right now.
Yeah,
He's getting a check from both teams in the NBA Finals. That's a legend at the bank.
Because I tried.
He's a legend at the bank.
It's funny because I actually tried looking it up. I wanted to see if the Lakers still had him on the contract. I couldn't get an exact.
He would be a
word.
super legend.
I think they finally paid it off.
Because if he was getting paid by all three,
I can't confirm it. I tried finding that.
He would be the legend at the bank, not just a legend. He'd be the legend at the bank. He'd be getting paid from 3 NBA franchises and 2 of them in the NBA Finals.
Why is he about to beat the team and they're still paying him? That's funny as shit.
That's a conflict of interest, yeah.
That's funny as hell.
It's conflict of interest.
Slightly.
So
that's how much we care about Austin Davis.
I was gonna say.
We just went on Mike Brown.
I was just about to ask you. So Austin Davis is your man. That's interesting. You have him as the 3rd best backup in the league. I think I agree though. I think if he beat Kaepernick out in a workout, he's got to be he's got to be fighting for one of the best backups in the league easily. If he just beat Kaepernick out for a backup spot, who said he would take a backup spot with Seattle and less money? He did. He came out and said that in an interview.
I guess he just wants too much money.
So the fact that he said that, that's crazy to me. That Austin Davis must be super impressive. Hopefully for them, if Wilson does go down, then they can still obviously that's still their ticket for the championship, right? Austin Davis will step in there and give him a good shot.
I mean, he's his 3rd best.
He'll give him the best shot over Kaepernick for a champion. Okay.
He's the 3rd best backup in the league.
He was 0-2 with the Browns, by the
way. Jesus.
So, but that's a product of the system. That's not his fault. That was because the team around him sucked. He's better
about
than
the
Kaepernick.
6 or 12 other teams he was on the roster of.
Do you think he stands for the national anthem?
What color is he?
I'm assuming white, but I'll be honest, I haven't looked up a picture.
I would assume white.
I mean, I would just Austin Davis.
He got the most 2K generic ass name he could find, huh?
He might not. He might be Anthony Davis' cousin.
No, he's white. That's selfish. Yeah. No, I'm sure he stands. Dude, like I said, I'm pretty sure Pete Carroll was serious. He wanted him. I bet that owner made that phone call the next day. And he was watching SportsCenter or whatever the hell people watch nowadays, and was like, "Coach, we don't condone that." You saw what the Giants said, right? Like, yeah, it's the same deal here, bro. The fans wouldn't appreciate that. You can't be here. He can't be here.
What did the Giants say? Please remind me what Steve Morris said.
Something about the fans wouldn't basically approve of that signing, and there would be a major outlash and a backlash and an outrage for that. So that's why, because of what the fans said.
Didn't he sign Josh Brown, the kicker, once? Like 3 weeks after Josh Brown beat the
who's that?
Absolute living crap out of his wife. She was bleeding and stuff.
A punter, right? He punts. He punts.
He's special teams of some kind. He kicks the ball.
He punts. He doesn't even. He's not even. That's the worst part. He's not
a
even
white
a
guy. He's a white guy. He wears number 2.
And he punts. He's a punter.
I don't know. Somebody who knees for the national anthem. Somebody who beats the crap out of his wife. Somebody who knees for the national anthem. Somebody who beats the crap out of his wife. You know what? Who would be a bigger PR hit? The person who took a knee during the national anthem easily.
A kicker or a punter.
Talk about putting your foot in your mouth.
Who beat the hell out of his wife. Admitted that he beat the hell out of his wife.
To them, to the media, to the NFL, and then got a 3-year, $22 million contract. But he wasn't too much of a PR hit or, embarrassing to sign to the fans. That's for sure. You got to have them good old Americans there that stand up for the national anthem. If you're still watching, we shout out to you and we appreciate that because
I feel like playing that Eminem song, "White America."
I just find that to be
just wild. Weird. Yeah, that's BS, and that's the hypocrisy of the NFL, dude.
I do know that Austin Davis is better than Colin Kaepernick. So
we did establish that. So
that is the right decision. Good call for the Seahawks. Good luck to them in their backup quarterback situation. We'll be following that closely.
At least he doesn't beat his wife.
I mean,
shout out to him.
So they're not as hypocritical as the Giants yet. I wore my LeBron t-shirt last year to a Beyonce concert when they were down 3-1. I'm not saying I have the same faith that I had last year when they were down 3-1, but LeBron going back home, if they can pull off 2.
Look, I said last week I thought about giving them 5, but I didn't want to disrespect them, and I said 6.
I was the one who said there was a potential of them losing in 4, and that's just because I see how I saw how good this, like, they are a KD away from Cleveland, obviously. That's the difference. I mean, they went out and had KD.
Yeah.
But,
no, I still think
I think there's a chance.
Yeah, I still think
there's a chance.
I think they take Game 3, and I think we're having a whole different conversation.
We talk about this all the time too with the NBA. More than any other sport, the home thing does seem to be more relevant for the role players. You know, the second string, the third, fourth, fifth best player on the team always seem to be a little better at home due to comfort level, due to whatever. But home teams in the playoffs, home teams in the regular season. I mean, obviously, the two of the top three teams in the East had losing records on the road. So. And you know, that Cleveland and Washington series was probably the best example of how big a road team didn't win that series, but every home team did win in all 7 games. So there is something to that in the NBA more than any other sport. So it is, until a road team wins the series in the NBA more than anywhere else does not start.
Right. Yeah.
I know you're hoping at least for a win in the sense of a better series.
I will say, but I will say that, I was saying I didn't have a foot in this race. I do.
It's impressive.
I do find it entertaining just because I'm a little LeBron hater. I do enjoy this LOL that I'm having, but at the same time, it's like the KD is like, for me.
And for how good LeBron's playing. For me,
it's just like, really?
For how bad it looks and for how good he's playing, it's a weird anomaly to actually sit through.
Yeah.
But. Well, hopefully next week we have more competitive series to talk about. If not, it will be over between now and then when we talk. Hopefully the Stanley Cup's still going on. That would be good news for me. Mm-hmm. And the Houston Astros most likely will still be in first place in baseball. Colin Kaepernick will probably still be a free agent. And we will be back on the air. So thank you for watching JD Sports. I'm Jarrett Hood. That's Dwight.
Peace out.